Hello. Well, we are live, I think. We are live. Hello. How's everybody doing? If I have anybody here to be everybody yet. Sorry if this is all very confusing to you. It's also very confusing to me, as this is my first time trying to use this particular format. I tried to I don't know if I'm in the vertical. It says I should be in vertical feed. I don't know if I'm in the vertical feed. I don't know what's going on. Ah, boy, oh boy. Let me see something. I don't know. Okay, I am in a vertical feed. That's good. All right. Nobody's watching, but hey, I'll just sit here and talk to myself and see if anybody ever shows up here. But I guess that's better than nothing. That is the vertical feed, right? Ah, what a start to the day. Well, it's not really a start. What a start to the day. Okay. Anyway. So I guess it's a good show for nobody to show up. Don't know what to talk about yet. It looks like we are getting closer to some sort of resolution with Iran, or maybe not. So this is, why is not a single person? I don't know if nobody's watching because nobody's watching, or if nobody's watching because something's not working. Anyway, I am. Hey, Brett, good to see you. I'm glad somebody's here. At least said something, because I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. I switched to my I switched how I do this. So things are very different now. So I'm not using StreamYard anymore. I tried to get it so that there's only one feed, so I'm using YouTube now. Okay. Trying to figure out how to do some things like put a channel, or put a how do I feature a comment? Pin message. Okay, so that does that, but it doesn't show it on screen. How do I put a message on screen? Anyway, sorry for all this. Hi, Dylan. How are you doing? Loving the karma. Trump calls mail-in voting cheating while using a mail ballot himself. Sorry, 1 second here while I get my ducks organized, so to speak. Okay, so I figured out one thing. Okay. Yeah, my message just got pinned. I just figured out how to pin one. So here, we'll pin this one too. Pin message. I was trying to figure out how to get one on to display on the screen, and I did not know how to do that. So today I'm trying something new. I'm not using StreamYard anymore. I'm trying OBS, which is a streaming software. And I'm only streaming to YouTube right now because it apparently takes a lot of your computer to do that. And it gets worse with each, channel. So anyway, you pinned my message. So yeah, I am a message pinner now. So I'm gonna pin you. I don't know if you're a wrestler or just a biker, but you've been pinned. So hang on a second. I'm gonna need to do one other thing and send this to Kitty. All right. Sorry for all the awkwardness here as I try to figure out what's going on. This is a disaster, by the way. So anyway, I imagine people will eventually show up. But thanks for those that are here. No. Black says no. Oh, it did. He doesn't think Trump is gonna throw any tantrums. So that's why don't I bring this up here? And this is weird. All right. This is very. Oh, that's the studio is behind me. All right, so as I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here, I thank you guys for tolerating my ignorance as I try to figure out that. Okay, so let's talk about Donald Trump and his tantrum. The question of the hour. Is Donald Trump going to throw a tantrum? That is what I was wondering. And I would share my screen with you, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I have a lot of learning curve to go with this OBS thing. I might have to end up just paying the money to get a streaming software. All right, so. But Donald Trump's approval rating for overall approval rating is down to 36%, which I think is close to as low as it's ever been. It's certainly the lowest of his second term, and it might be the lowest of his first term. And the headline on that is his approval rating on the economy is 25%. 25%. That's what he allegedly won the election on, is how he was going to turn around the economy. And he did not. I don't know if you're aware of this. He did turn around the economy. It was going forward, and now it's going backwards. He's making the economy demonstrably worse. Hi, Barbara. I can't. Anyway, you can't display people's comments on this software, at least not yet. So I have to figure out how to do that. Hi, Winner. So anyway, Donald Trump's approval ratings are in the tank. What is the price of gas now? I think I checked earlier and it was still not quite. It's 398.3. So we're still not to $4 a gallon yet, but we're getting so close. Diesel is up to 536. Actually, yep, diesel's up again. I think it's gone up. The price of gas has gone up every day since the Iran war started. And how's the price of oil? Price of oil is going up and down based on the whims and the stories of whatever happens with Iran. So here's the thing with the whole Iran deal. Is you've got some people that are saying that they're ready to so the U.S. sent Iran like 14 points that and then Iran sent back LOL, and then they sent back their own conditions, and the fact, I mean, they're not even talking at the same table right now. Hi, Leith. $6 for diesel. That's a lot of money. Hi, Virginia. Gas, $4. It's getting close. It's 398.6. What was that? It's 398.3. So it's national average is 398.3. It's definitely higher than $4 in a lot of places. If you're living in California, the average price is $5.83. In Oregon, it's $4.87. In Washington, it's $5.29. So it's definitely up there in some places. Oh my goodness. Why am I so sleepy? He's not long for this earth, so I fear he will say blanket and start the big one. That would be interesting. I wonder what would happen. I wonder if he just decided to launch nukes if people would turn the keys. I wonder if people would actually go through with it. Would you? I wouldn't. $2.50 for diesel. What? $2.50 an ounce? It's diesel is 536.6. That's a little bit more than $2.50. Oh, Netherlands. Oh, euro, and that's a liter then. That's a liter. So what does that translate in? Because I know Europeans pay a lot more money for gas than we do. So there are 3.785 liters in a gallon. So and then what did you say it was? You said it was $2.50. So it's $9.45 a gallon where Drew is at in the Netherlands. $9.50 a gallon for diesel. How do you like that, Brett? Okay. Leith says Bari oil. Drew says, ooh, true. Hello, kitties. Hey, kitty. My favorite commenter / whatever else. It's good to see you there, Miss Kitty. Mistake. You in California. Ha ha ha. Even more expensive. That's even more in dollars. What do you think about Palm Beach? Oh yeah. That's actually a good point. That's $9.45 in euros. So how much? Many dollars in 9.45 euros. $10.95 to $11. You're paying $11 a gallon for diesel, buddy. Boy, I bet you're really happy about the war. That you had no say in. Not like we did either, but at least it's our asshole president that started it, and not yours. So yeah, that's something that Brett asked. What do you think about the Palm Beach County flipping blue? Orange Bigly mad. Yeah, that's part of the reason I've got the him throwing the ketchup bottle on the thumbnail for today's broadcast. Because in case you haven't heard, his House district, the state house, not the House of Representatives house, but the state house district that he lives in was up for grabs, and it was, not surprisingly, this is where Mar-a-Lago is. So that district was like 13 points red or something, and it got flipped. And it got flipped pretty solidly enough that no. So what was just looking up the results here. Gregory won by 2.4 percentage points, or 797 votes. So that is another poll, or another actual, not a poll, but actual voting result that really makes you wonder, are Republicans going to be in serious trouble? That's it. There are consistently these special elections have been like 15, 20 point flips from 2024 election. And that just reinforces a couple of things. The election in 2024 had nothing to do with Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Let's just get that straight. What it had to do with, this is what people would say if you're actually talking about reality, and they weren't voting to get Donald Trump. They weren't voting so that Donald Trump could invade Iran. If anything, they voted because he said Kamala Harris would. But let's be realistic here. Let's talk about reality. The one thing that was bothering everybody was inflation under Joe Biden. And that's not to say, I'm not saying it was his fault, but he got the blame for it. And whether you think he deserved it or not, people voted for the Republicans because they were mad about inflation. And the Republicans kept saying, oh, inflation, 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 inflation. And they never said what they were going to do about it. They just kept blaming it on the Democrats. So then the Republicans came along, and what they did about inflation is reversed all the progress that the Democrats had been making with inflation. And it had been coming down steadily since 2023. And the reasons for inflation under Biden had nothing to do with Joe Biden, at least the primary ones. The main reasons for inflation were, one, the supply chain gap, and number two, the Russia invading Ukraine disrupted the world's oil supply. And now we're seeing under Donald Trump, when somebody disrupts the world's oil supply, he's not immune to that either. But the Republicans have also done a number of other things. One, with mass deportations. They've actually limited how much food gets picked, how much food gets harvested. And I know we're going to get some maggots on here coming and screaming about automation. Not everything can be automated. Please just look it up. I don't want to have a stupid argument about a stupid thing that can be easily Googled. Not everything can be automated. Strawberries can't be automated. And when you get rid of like 30-40% of the workforce, you don't just get 30-40% less strawberries. You get bankrupt strawberry farms and zero strawberries. So, mass deportations actually are hurting the food supply. Not just with strawberries, but also with things like cattle and meat, because a significant percentage of the meat packing industry is undocumented immigrants. And it's also hurting the new housing industry because a significant percentage of the construction population is undocumented immigrants. So all of those things are making prices go higher. Then in addition to that, you've got Donald, other countries pay tariffs, Trump sitting there bragging about his illegal tariffs that the Supreme Court shut down, but it still cost American consumers, like on average, I think it was $2,500 per consumer last year. So that made prices go up. And then you've got austerity cuts. And the austerity cuts are the first and largest transfer of wealth from the poor people to the rich people in our history. It was just ridiculous. There's something in economists call automatic stabilizers. And automatic stabilizers are things like SNAP benefits, unemployment benefits, Social Security. These are things that if something happens, the economy goes into a recession, it basically raises the floor of the economy. They make it so that you can get benefits, you can get help from the government automatically. You don't have to have special legislation passed. And this helps minimize the impact of recessions. We learned this lesson after the Great Depression, and FDR implemented a lot of these stabilizers. We've had other stabilizers come along since then, like SNAP benefits and Medicaid. But these things actually help the economy. These things actually make it not just easier for the people that receive the benefits, they also make things easier for the people who don't receive the benefits. Although I know that's hard for some people to wrap their heads around, because in the conservative world, if somebody's getting something, you're being deprived of something. But sometimes you just make the whole, rising tide lifts all boats type thing. And what happens is with a lot of these stabilizers, there's also something called a multiplier. And a multiplier means that when you put that money into the economy, it multiplies. You give somebody food stamps or SNAP benefits. I shouldn't say food stamps. They haven't been called food stamps in 30 years, but they're SNAP benefits. Their EBT card or whatever. So you get somebody that $300 and they go and they spend it at the grocery store. That grocery store did $300 in business that they would not have otherwise done. And so then if there's enough people in that community that have those SNAP benefits, that means that more people get jobs at that grocery store. Because they need to stock the groceries and get them off the trucks and have people run the registers to sell them and all of that good stuff. So this triple whammy of the austerity cuts, the tariffs, and the mass deportations was already clobbering us. And now we've come in with this other clobbering of the Iran war. And it's just making Donald Trump tremendously unpopular. And the thing is, he never actually said what he was going to do to bring prices down. He just said he was. And if like some people are like admitting they were idiots to fall for that shtick. But that's what's going on. That's why he's losing his popularity. Is because he ran on this lie that somehow he was going to fix all the prices, and now all the prices are getting worse, and it's getting more and more expensive to live. All right. So we got some... Whoa. Okay. So anyway, that's why I think that, to get back to your question, Brett, that's why I think... Oh. That's why I think that we've got these issues. Hey, VJ. We're used to high prices. Oh, don't need to click on them. I am currently listening to the Indike Disposition for Epstein Wiki. Oh, if you hear anything interesting, weigh in. Kelly, please wipe pinned message. I have just wiped it. I've got to figure out how to do this stuff, Brett. Dollywood country, love the sun shining and a good day. I don't know what that means. Dollywood country. You, Drew, don't you like to go to Germany to fill up the tank there? Was it food and we go over for the gas? You want to hear a cool story, Winner? I was in Germany when this happened, and it involved gas. This is why I thought of it. But I was with some friends of mine, and we were driving actually from Germany to the Netherlands. We were going to, I was in Bonn, and we were driving to, was it Bonn? It was in Wiesbaden, and we were driving to Amsterdam, because I wanted to go visit Amsterdam. And my friend's car had just ran out of gas. And then right as it was running out of gas, we saw a gas station. And we just had just enough momentum to get into the gas station. And we ran out of momentum, right as we rolled to a stop, we were right in front of the gas tank. Had literally just enough gas to get us to the gas tank. So anyway, not that it has anything to do with Germany or Netherlands, other than that's where the story happened. The next guy running next, Lord, have mercy on our soul. I have mercy on their soul. I don't know what they're going to do. Kitty says there are many countries now rationing gas. Wonder how long it's going to be before they start rationing food. Obama can or not. Yeah, Obama can't run again. And Michelle Obama, I know some people like to, daydream about that, but that's not going to happen. I think that helped Germany during the pandemic, but we didn't recover as fast as the U.S. under Biden. Yeah. The U.S. did really good under Biden. I wish people would understand that. Compared to the rest of the world, the U.S. had a really good economy. And compared to how it is now. Trump doesn't know what he is doing. He is the smartest person in his cabinet, and that is dangerous. Donald Trump, if Donald Trump is the smartest person in a room, then you're in a pretty stupid room. Of course, if I'm in the same room as Donald Trump, he's not the smartest person in it. We got the largest military budget in the world, and soldiers, Brett says, we've got the largest military budget in the world, and soldiers still have to rely on WIC and SNAP for their families. It's insane. It's sad that, and then we sit there, and then we'll be like, oh, this is sad. You have, people that are, I know this isn't you, but you'll have conservatives, say stuff about that. The only time they get upset about these things is when, a library got funding or something. Not when Elon Musk got another $1 trillion. Well, $1 billion or $10 billion. Lies, all lies. It works for Walmart. And the Pentagon can't pass an audit, but will dissect a SNAP recipient shopping cart at Walmart like a crime scene. I want all middle class and poor people. Yeah. Pentagon, I wonder how much money has been just washed in the Pentagon. I want all middle class and poor people to stop working once they get a robot to replace you. Game over. Yep. Well, that's who's going to be picking the strawberries. They want to get back to serfdom. The Republican goal is serfdom. Don't make any mistake about it. Capitalism or communism? Why not both? I think that we need some. I think we need incentives, but I also think we need security. It's like asking, do you want a higher floor or a higher ceiling? And it's like, why not have both a higher floor and a higher ceiling? I mean, when you say communism, that's a kind of a loaded word that gets often misused, mislabeled. But I think that there are places where socialism is better done. Like there are some things that are better done and better run by the government, like the military. I don't want a private military. I know some people would. Irony, Hegzest said the problem with Iran is that it spends money on weapons and missiles instead of improving life for their people. He's describing his own administration. He is. And then they went and as soon as he said that, they went and asked for another 250, what was it? $250 billion for defense spending while they're cutting food for children. It's like, I would rather my tax dollars go to feed our children than to kill Iranian children. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the weird one. He's got a new sofa. I think that's JD Vance. Yeah. JD Vance's sofa was like, if you want it, put a cushion protector on it. Is that, you see, like the birth control for couches is like those vinyl things that your grandmother has. Did Vance assault it yet? Elon Musk got a massage sofa. Socialism, like Star Trek. Star Trek was like it's kind of interesting, like the whole Star Trek versus Star Wars thing. Because Star Trek is, at least as far as humanity goes, is like this utopian future. And Star Trek is like this dystopian past. Remember, it was on land it was in a time long ago in a land far, far away. Were you stationed in Wiesbaden? Went to Amsterdam for fun. When was that? I was stationed in San Vito, Italy, but I was TDY in Wiesbaden for about 6 weeks. and we were going to Amsterdam for fun, but not too much fun because drugs were still illegal in the Air Force. They probably still are. But it was neat. I really there was I think it was called Zerst. We stopped in a little town called Zerst, and I really liked it. I thought that the Netherlands were like this beautiful country. I also went around Germany a bit while I was there. What happened is when I lived in San Vito, there was this town called Brindisi, well, city called Brindisi, which was only like 8 miles away. And so me and a friend of mine, we would go out and we would just sit there and drink beers and cappuccinos or whatever by the dock. And the Brindisi was a port for people that were going uh, out of going to like Ireland or I'm going to Greece for vacation. It was the Greek islands like Corfu and stuff, and you could get these ferries. And but sometimes the ferries would be booked, and so they'd have to stay over until the next day. And so, and I had an apartment, I had a house that I was renting. They had an extra bedroom in it, and so sometimes we'd be sitting there talking, and some people from the Netherlands or Germany or wherever would be walking past us, and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, I want to practice my English. You guys speak English?" And so they'd come over and they'd start hanging out with us, and we would just talk and get to know each other. And if they didn't have if they weren't able to get on their ferry, then I'd be like, come on over. I've got an extra room. Crash out. I'll take you back to the ferry in the morning. And so then, we'd exchange numbers, and they'd be like, well, if you're ever in Holland, or if you're ever in Germany, or if you're ever here, give me a call, and we can hang out. And so I had this collection of numbers of people all over Europe, and I'd go and I'd just go visit friends in Holland and Germany and all over the place, and have a free place to stay. And so it's like I got to see a good portion of Europe for free. It was pretty cool. It really sickens me to know that there's going to be trolls in here that laugh about it. All of it, like it's not going to affect them soon. This is a worldwide problem. They are going to FAFO. Yes, they are. There are going to be a lot of people that they think that it's not going to affect them, but like somehow all of Donald Trump's terrible policies only affect Democrats or something. But you look, uh, SNAP benefits, for instance. Did you know that if you are living in a rural community, you are more likely to receive SNAP benefits than if you're in an urban community? If you live in a red state, you're more likely to receive SNAP benefits than if you're in a blue state. Um, there are plenty of white MAGA voters that are going to lose their Medicaid, they're going to lose their SNAP, they're going to lose the benefits that they also need to survive. And I'm not like a resentful person. I'm not like going, yay, 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 they got what they want, they deserve. I just hope that they learn. Like there was that one lady, uh, whose interview went viral, where they asked her, "What do you think of Donald Trump?" And she said, "I think he's a piece of poop," although she didn't say poop. And she had voted for him like all 3 times, and she's like, "I'm an idiot." Uh, you know, she just said it. I'm an idiot. And there's that like the SNL skit with the mom trying to tell her kids there are some you know MAGAs out there that are coming around, and I think we need to be welcoming to those MAGAs instead of patronizing and "I told you so" and stuff like that. Let's let them learn. Okay. Not financially poor. I just mean feel bad for them in a way. Oh, poor ignorant fools. I see. Poor ignorant fools. Yeah. You know, some of them are just in a society where they're told all along that uh, interesting. They're told their whole life that, Democrats are bad. Democrats are bad. Democrats hate God. A lot of it is tied to God. But um, so hang on a second. I'm gonna. Uh, okay. I need to take a quick break. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I'll try this. Okay. Uh, all right. I'm back. Not financially. Okay. Brett says, don't they all say we're one paycheck away from homelessness? Most mega are 9 to 5ers, not salaried. This is going to crush them. I don't like seeing Americans go through this, no matter who. I agree. And it's like what's bad for America is bad for all Americans. It's not like the economy picks and chooses who you voted for. It's not like, you voted for Harris, so you have an exclusion or you get punished first. It's indiscriminate. I just wish more Republicans actually learned before they voted. I wish they didn't have to vote to learn. But, it is same cycle over and over again. So we haven't talked about the war at all. Iran proposed. Well, the U.S. sent Iran like a proposal that had 15 conditions, and Iran sent back LOL, and then they had their conditions, and apparently that's where it's at right now. Like both sides are just brazenly talking past each other and pretending it's peace talks. So, do you guys think are we any closer to peace, or is it just like, is it real? Is there anything realistic there? All right, hang on. Sorry, I needed to check on something. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Nobody wants to talk about that, I guess. I guess everybody's talked out about the Vietnam, or about the Iran war. Is there anything else we can talk about? There's the SAVE Act, which, oh, social media. That's one. The Meta and Google both got slammed with these legal cases. About kids. Oh, okay. I was thinking it was a bit more money. They've been ordered to pay $3 million in damages, people. That is almost worth writing the check to them. Like, $3 million for real? $3 million? Oh, hey, friend zone, buddy. How you doing? So, okay. Can Iran, Persia identify one Western agent that has operated in good faith over the last 120 years? No, and that's the thing. They can't. And that includes, well, maybe Obama. Like, I think Obama operated in good faith. And that's why he was able to reach a deal with them. But I think that Donald Trump and his crew, they've already stupid thing. The Trump and his crew, they definitely have not operated in good faith. And they've actually mentioned that they're like, we were in the middle of peace talks when they started a war with us twice. They attacked us twice while we were in the middle of peace talks. How are we supposed to have peace talks with these people? I miss the messages you respond to at top of screen. I do too. I don't, but I can't figure out how to do that without the StreamYard thing. Like, it doesn't seem like that made it kind of neat, didn't it? But $83 a month made it kind of expensive too. What happened to this StreamYard? When I first started, I bought a 1-year plan, and the plan expired, and it's like $80 a month, and it wasn't. I mean, it's really nice, but I wasn't getting that much money back on it. So I might return to it later, but that, I mean, it was pretty pricey. I'm looking into some other venues too. I wanted to try it this way. This way is free. Like, that's a big advantage. $83 less is a lot less than $83. Like, free. So, I mean, there were some other good things, like my little shorts videos and stuff. It automatically generated those, and had like a permanent studio that Patsy could, that Kitty could pop in and out whenever she wanted. Yep, I'm going to downgrade my internet from 1 gig to 100 megabytes after my plan expires. Yeah, after, like, gigabyte, like, how often do you need more than 100 megabytes anyway? I remember, like, back in the old days, when I was downloading songs on Napster. I don't know if you're old enough to have downloaded songs on Napster, Brett, but when you'd sit there and you'd be doing it on the modem, and you'd just sit there and you'd be like watching the bar, and that's like 2 hours later, and the song is almost completely downloaded, and then your wife picks up the phone and you're like, no, because you lose everything as soon as the phone disconnects. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day. I hope you're having a great day, Gary. I um, is having a great day. So, Gary, I wanted to let you know, if you go to my site, there's a. Oh, I didn't put it up yet. I was gonna play it during today's episode, but couldn't figure out how to do it. But I'll put one up. I'll put it up after this, and you can see it. But I did look into the whole. I think you were the one asking about the whole China thing, like China buying up farmland. Was it you or the other guy? I think it was you. So I looked into the China buying up the farmland around the military bases, and there are a couple of instances where China has bought up farmland near military bases, but we have to be careful about this. I think it's 390,000 acres of land that they've bought in total. That 390,000 acres represents less than 1% of all foreign owned land. Like Canada owns a lot more land than China does. So that's number one. The 390,000 sounds like a lot, but it's less than 1% of all foreign owned farmland and a tiny, tiny fraction of all American farmland. Like in tenths of a percentage. The next thing is that they've tried to buy land near Air Force base or like military bases, but there's a Senate committee that monitors all foreign land purchases, and they flag those things and then kill them before they can happen. So, like, China tried to buy some land near Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota, but they were denied that purchase. There are a couple of, like places where they have land near military bases, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just not. They're just, some Chinese people own farmland. It's kind of one of those hyperbolic things. But anyway, wanted to let you know. I looked it up. I made a little explainer video on it. So Winter says, old enough, but too law-abiding. Oh, too law-abiding to do the Napster thing, right? What? Napster? I never heard of it. What is that? I heard of Napster, never used. Yeah, I don't. It was like back in the early days of the internet. That was like Napster was. If you were a college student in the 90s, you used Napster. Now it'd be almost like a. I think they. I don't even know if they still do the peer to peer downloading stuff, but yeah, Spotify and whatnot. I mean, like for $10 a month, you choose your streaming service, you get unlimited music. It's not like back in the day. I spent like thousands of dollars on music, buying every album and record, and I just have an account to Spotify, and you can listen to whatever song you want whenever you want. It wasn't me, but I'm still very okay. So no, I think then it must have been the Ron. Was that his name, Ron? China owns a lot of East Coast U.S. for decades. Yeah, it was the other guy. Like there's Gary and there's another guy. I think his name is Ron or something. That they're conservatives but not MAGAs. Or at least not diehard Trump supporters. Uh, oh, so Gary just took over the #1 spot. I didn't even. So there's this leaderboard thing here. I never knew about that. So we had to use Napster. That's all we had. We had to use Napster in the middle of winter. And 30 below. Uphill both ways. That was like Napster was everything. Then it was then we went through the MySpace was the big thing, and what like some of the what was the I think there was a search engine called Snap that was huge, and like I went through AOL and Prodigy and Juno. There was Juno, that was a free one. Man, the internet has gone through some stages. But I remember when I got my first DSL account, and it was like could download like 500 megs or per second or whatever, and you could like actually stream live video, and I was just like, whoa. And they had these Real Player that somebody had figured out how, like, when they invented streaming, stuff like that. Like all this stuff didn't happen overnight. Like it was. So if you're like not, if you were, I think you have to be at least 35 to remember most of this stuff. I hid my account. Oh, so you can hide your account on the leaderboard thing. Was the best. The good old days of the internet. And then this thing called YouTube came out, and everybody was like, "Who's gonna want to watch a bunch of stupid people's home videos?" That was like the initial reception of YouTube. Well, I guess YouTube ended up winning that argument. But yeah, it's interesting how far we've come. All right, so what else do we want to talk about today? See, this is why. Oh, wait. Okay, who's going to the No Kings rally this Saturday? Anybody going there? Anybody gonna rally? I've heard it's supposed to be the biggest one yet. Let me see something here. See what's trending on Twitter. See if there's. Seems like there's the TSA thing. Levitt defends Trump on Iran sea. Caroline Levitt is just like, I just cannot believe anything she says. USDA Secretary Rollins assures fertilizer spike won't disrupt spring planting. I'm sure that assurance is not going to assure anybody. In a Fox Business interview, Rollins noted that 80% of farmers secured fertilizer supplies before recent prices surges tied to the U.S.-Israel conflict with Iran and high energy costs. She highlighted the proactive buying that leaves only a smaller group affected, with the USDA exploring new supply lines and prior traffic to help. While some question the 80% figure and blame past policies, Rollins emphasized stabilizing food prices and aiding producers and tighter inventories and other pressures like this. I have a feeling that the ones that I think there's I think this is probably off the cuff. The people that secured it could afford to secure it beforehand, and those are going to be mostly the large corporate farms. And there's a few things like small farmers don't stock up on fertilizer for a couple of reasons. One, it's highly explosive, right? So you don't want just mountains of it sitting around your house. The second thing is that it's also expensive. And so they need to get loans to get it and stuff like that. Um, so I think if she's saying 80%, which I don't trust that number, but whatever of it exists, whatever truth there is to that, I'm fairly certain that it's almost all uh, the uh, the large corporate farms that have the fertilizer and the small private farms that don't. So it's just going to be another thing that uh, that sorry, just totally lost my train of thought. It's the small farmers once again that are going to suffer, not the larger farms. Uh, Alfred, that no King's rally that would have me have to fly to Britain. Why would you have to fly to Britain for a no King's rally? There are like 3,000 of them in the country. I would, but it's too far for me unless someone gives me a ride. Levitt needs to put on her boots on the ground. Well, yeah, her own boots on the ground. I'm not her bleeping worker bee. Because no, that's not the king we're talking about, Gary. I mean, I think you know what's going on. I don't get like. I think you're trying to be clever, but it's not really clever. Everybody knows what they mean by no king's rally. It's not like there's some serious confusion here. Yeah, I mean, I get you're making a joke. I'm just saying it's not a funny joke. And a lot of people are like, actually, there is realities here, right? I know that you don't like to criticize Trump, but the First Amendment, he's like prosecuting journalists. He like people have been literally killed for exercising the right to protest. You have people being jailed for protesting. You have people being jailed for exercising free speech. You have uh, people trying to legislate what religion you're allowed to be. You have people, like apparently the Second Amendment only applies to people that agree with uh, Donald Trump. Alex Preddy doesn't have a right to bear arms. The Third Amendment, you have, like National Guard and stuff trying to force themselves into places, and ICE tangentially. I mean, it's not technically they're not military, but they're like, oh, why can't we, eat at this restaurant? Well, the Third Amendment, at least in spirit, says they don't have to, entertain you. The Fourth Amendment is like literally that's what's holding up the whole thing right now. The whole DHS funding is the willful just dismissal of the Fourth Amendment The Fifth Amendment, with the right to even have a trial. They've just dismissed they've sent people to prison without even having a trial. They're locking up children. The Sixth Amendment, where you have, the attorneys, where they're like even saying that if you do business with certain people, you can't you can't do any business with anybody that has any federal contracts with the federal government. So that basically kills those people's right to have any legal representation. The Seventh Amendment is the $20 one. You got the Ninth Amendment is, I think, that's the one where, your rights that are reserved, that aren't specified. So things like transgender rights. The 10th Amendment, state rights. You've got Donald Trump just ordering National Guards to go do what he wants them to do. The 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, the 16th Amendment, the 19th Amendment, the 25th Amendment, or I'm not, the 26th Amendment. 25th Amendment is the one that we should be implementing. But anyway, the Article 1 of the Constitution, he's just trampled over and over again. Article 2, he thinks is the only article of the Constitution, and he's only like, to him, the Constitution is the president can do whatever he wants. So, how is he not a king? He even his lineage is like negotiating billions of dollars of settlements in Gaza, or of new housing in Gaza, while he's supposedly negotiating peace also. So yeah, he's a king wannabe. Nobody's confused that he actually is a king. But the authoritarianism is what is being protested. More or less just chalk these protests up to the people that don't like Trump and his policies, period. Yeah, so but what don't they like about Trump and his policies? You always say that, like, just criticizing Trump. You just dismiss people criticizing Trump as just people criticizing Trump, but you never address the things that they're criticizing him for. Is it fair to criticize Trump for trampling the Constitution? Can you acknowledge that there is a legitimate point there? There's 1400 Babel Spaz, Berlin. There's also what is Babel Splatz? Babel Splats. I don't know what Babel Splats is. But boy, does it sound like a good word to describe Stephen Miller. There's I don't know if I don't know what if it means something in German, but Babel Splats. That's like a good name for Stephen Miller. There is also a solidarity demonstration for the citizens of Iran. Take calling a president king seriously. I get why people are unhappy with him. Okay, but why don't you talk about why people are unhappy with him? You just dismiss being unhappy with Trump as being arbitrary, and you dismiss it out of hand. Like, there are reasons people are unhappy with him, and you don't actually engage in the substance of the conversation. People worried about the amendments all the time instead of just showing some of the time. No, I think that it's not It's not fair. Nobody else has just thrown out the Fourth Amendment the way Donald Trump has. Other people haven't been running around jailing reporters for saying things they don't like. The Donald, like, you can't just equate every other person with Donald Trump and then say, well, nobody else, they weren't worried about it when other people were doing it. Other people weren't doing it. Mars says his tariffs cost me my job. Adam says they can never state any facts. Brett says, okay. Okay. Peace out, Brett. Babel Splats is where the No Kings protest in Berlin takes place. Oh, wow. At 2 p.m. I still want to call Stephen Miller Babel Splats because all he does is babble, and he's like a splats. No, I'm not saying they don't have a right to protest. I just know most of them don't like anything about him. But why don't they? What don't they like about him? Like, you think that it's just about some kind of knee-jerk reaction to Trump. When what they're protesting is actually very real and very fair. People are dying because of Trump. People are being killed because of Trump. Children are being jailed because of Trump. Children are losing their parents because of Trump. Wars are being fought because of Trump. It's fair to talk about those things. It's not fair to just dismiss it as out-of-hand anti-Trump haters. And you can't just dismiss 10 million people like that. The king would be better than Congress. Well, Congress is his royal court right now. The Republicans in Congress. Gary, LMAO, yeah, say the same thing about the 10 Commandments. See how that works. Yeah, I think he's broken all the commandments, too. His tariffs lowered overseas sales in my company shut facilities. Oh, wow. So are you overseas or are you... Because it could be either way. But yeah, a lot of people are losing their jobs because of tariffs. I'm sorry that you lost yours. I just saw your name is Mars Lunar. So, your name is really out of this world. No, they just canceled them. They canceled what? Of course, they are reasons people are unhappy with him. So Adam says, boo-hoo, cry me a river. I don't know what Adam's point is. I don't know what Adam thinks just got canceled either. I haven't disagreed with you on that. No, but I'm just saying your attitude about it is like dismissive. Like you're just, oh, that's just Trump haters. They're just Trump hating because they hate Trump no matter what he does. And it's not, it's this attitude, like, allow me. When people say, oh, you just disagree with Trump because of what he does, or no, I disagree with Trump because of what he does. Like the actual things he does are wrong. Like, and I disagree with that. My opinions are not formed based on what Trump is doing. My opinions are formed before Trump became president. Like, before Trump became president, I thought that it would be wrong to jail reporters and remove children from their parents and murder people and, like that kind of thing. I didn't just like, now Trump's doing it, all of a sudden I have a problem with it. Because I don't bash Trump, it doesn't mean I don't understand what you're saying. No, I didn't say that you don't understand what I'm saying, and I didn't say it's because you don't bash Trump. What I am saying is that you are dismissing people who criticize Trump as bashing Trump. It's not bashing. It's not bashing to criticize Trump. Fair criticism is fair. It's not just bashing. You make it sound like some sort of a rational reaction. Trump would not be here if people did not cover him 24/7. Well, I think that's not true. And he is president. He is starting wars. He is like taking away health care from children, and he is taking away food from children. So just ignoring him does not make all those things go away either. Do you care what I label it as? Well, it depends on what you mean. Am I staying awake at night worrying about what you think about it? No. But you're you're making these comments on my stream, and I'm trying to reply to your comments. And I'm just saying, if you want to be taken seriously, if you want me to take what you're saying to heart, then you can take what other people say to heart. Like, it's not like you can engage on the criticism itself and not just engage on whether or not it's fair criticism. Like, are you okay with Donald Trump taking health care from children? Yes or no? Is that a fair thing to criticize him for? Yes or no? So I'm not saying I haven't disagreed with you or argued with you about anything today, and I'm not saying you have. I'm saying you're dismissing what people are criticizing Trump for. 1 month and 1 day with no Epstein arrest. Hey, Skippy, how's it going today? Another month and another day. And it's only like a few days fewer than that we've been at war with Iran. The tally will continue until justice is served. By tomorrow, I think it'll be up to 0 arrests still, Skippy. Unless you're counting international arrests. Other people are still doing it. It's cool in other countries. Interesting. Okay, the 2,259 days of talking about him in use. Yes. Well, he's been president for a number of those years, and I mean, do you think that if we didn't talk about him, that he wouldn't be going to war with Iran? I mean, there's going to war with Iran, dude. I never get this whole, just talking about him. It's like saying talking about racism causes racism. Or talking about, misogyny causes misogyny. Oh, talking about gay rights causes homophobia. It's talking about the problem doesn't create the problem. The problem's created, and that's why you talk about it, to make it go away. Not going to stay on here and just criticize the president. There's enough of that going on. I'm just saying, no, you don't have to, Gary. But you could at least engage on why people are criticizing him. Defend him if you want. But right now, all of that stuff is happening. If you ignored him, he would not. If you ignored him, he would not be in this position. Yes, he would. I mean, he absolutely would. That's a nice little statement to make. But no, I'm pretty sure that if I just ignored him, he would still be in this position. I don't think he's in this position because my stream put him in that position. Brett, tell us how you outran the mountain lion on your bike. I think Brett took off. He said all press is good press. You have Venezuelans and yeah, but that doesn't mean that's why he's here. That's like that's an association fallacy. You have Venezuelans and Iranians, is that what you mean? Cheering and thanking America. And so what? You had Iraqis cheering America when they pulled down the statue of Saddam Hussein too. That doesn't make what he did right. That doesn't justify going to war unilaterally. That's just a dumb talking point. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm saying the talking point is dumb. It's a dumb talking point. There are also probably people in both Venezuela and Iran that are not happy with what Trump has done. So, like just saying Iranians are happy about it, some people in Iran are happy about it. That doesn't mean it's right. You have Americans complaining that Trump did. We have Americans complaining that Trump did it. Yes. We have Americans complaining that Trump did it. We're allowed to criticize Donald Trump. We're allowed to say, the president is supposed to go and get approval from Congress before he starts the war. Can I get a shout out? Skid Stained Underwear says, can I get a shout out? Skid Stained Underwear in the house. Kelly, ask me what you want me to answer, and I'll tell you. Is it okay to separate children from their parents? Iran, no. It is right when the majority of the world agrees with it. The majority of the world doesn't agree with it. And who's to say what the majority of the world agrees with or doesn't agree with? Why does that make it right, even if it were? The Constitution says that the Congress determines when we go to war. That's what the Constitution says. The world does not decide what is legal in America. The Constitution does. It is not 80%. Are you just making up these numbers? What a made up number. No, 80% of the world does not agree with Iran being attacked. Oh, Anthony, the fake guy that lives in Venezuela. The Iranian regime had an approval rating. The Iranian regime having a 10 to 20% approval rating does not mean that 80% of the world wanted Donald Trump to go to war with Iran and jack gas prices up. Could you possibly say anything more fallacious? That's such a weird talking point. A lot of people in Iran are sad about Ali. No, okay. So it's fair to criticize him for separating children from their parents, right? So Gary says, no, it's not okay to separate children from their parents. So it's fair to criticize him for doing that, right? A lot of people in Iran are sad about Ali Kinnaman's death. Oil, Vietnam, more. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, Kong. Guy from Europe, we're pissed. Yes, they do. Saudi Arabia agreed. UAE agreed. Just stop making stuff up, Mackenzie. Trump have oil. Yes, you can criticize him. So, all right. So why are you complaining about people criticizing him for things that he deserves criticism for? You're sitting there and you say, oh, all the show is complaining about Trump. But all you do is complain about me complaining about Trump. Okay. So I've got a question. I don't know what all of this stuff means. So I got Skid Stain Underwear sent 100 for 2 joules. I have... What are joules? I don't know what joules are. So if anybody can tell me what joules are. Thank you, by the way, for the joules. Me when I... All right, so... after insulting us and mocking... okay. They all agree that the regime is terrible, but they are definitely not agreeing to the war. Yeah, it's... that's like... Two wrongs don't make a right, kind of thing. Like it's really that simple. Donald Trump is not the most popular person in the world either, and he's not even the most popular person in the country. He's got a 36% approval rating. So by your logic, 64% of the world would be okay with the rest of the world coming and attacking the United States and dethroning Trump. And, forcing a regime change according to your logic. If the polling in Iran, the popularity of the leadership in Iran is indicative of what the rest of the world wants to have happen, whether or not the rest of the world wants to have a war with Iran, by the same logic, the polling within the United States represents the rest of the world's views for conquering America and removing Trump as, Lord and King of all. And probably he's definitely not as popular in the rest of the world as he is here. He's definitely not getting 30%, 36% worldwide. He might not be that much more popular than Iran, especially now. Because everybody's paying more gas prices, not just America. Like there was the guy from the Netherlands. They're paying $11 a gallon for gas there now. $11 a gallon. Can you imagine? So Raparan, they all agree that the regime is terrible, but they are definitely not agreeing to the war. It's the exact opposite. I agree. That's. Hey Harry, how you doing? After insulting us and mocking veterans and deceased, he turns around and demands EU to get involved. Right, yeah, that probably did not help. And his whole thing about Article 5, right? He tried to invoke Article 5. Article 5 says an attack on one is an attack on all. It does not say an attack by one is an attack by all. There's no obligation to go and attack other countries because the United States did. Donald Trump doesn't just want to be king of America. He wants to be king of the world. He thinks that he can unilaterally decide not only when America goes to war with other countries, he gets to unilaterally decide when every country in NATO goes to war. He wants NATO to come to America's aid because he decided by himself that Iran needed to be taken out. So, General, hey, Munchkin Man, how you doing? I don't spend money here, so I wouldn't know what the jewels mean if that's a paying thing. I didn't say you're my enemy, Gary. The regime can be bad, and Donald Trump's war can also be bad. Actually, Gary, I think I've been pretty nice to you. I'm not, and I don't think that you're a bad person or anything. I don't understand why you would feel like I think you're my enemy. The regime can be bad, and Donald Trump's war can also be bad. Yes. Almost like two bad things can happen at the same time. It's like if a cartel guy kills another cartel guy, that doesn't make the cartel guy that did the killing okay because he killed a cartel guy. Like, two bad people existing in the same, like doing bad things to each other doesn't make the winner a good person. So two negatives do not make a positive, y'all. I'm not talking about math. You must be brother. I don't know what that means. He is at the moment the most unpopular person to ever exist. He's got to be up there. So Grizzly says 666. Congrats. Friendzone says congrats. You have Palantir's executive team commenting on your channel. Who's Palantir? Grizzly says 666 again. I feel like the most popular in the world is some sort of former dictator like Stalin or the Austria painter. My favorite thing is that Donald Trump thinks the U.S. is a more respected country, when in all honesty it is an international laughingstock of stupidity. Thank God for, and I really wonder if MAGAs, and, I'm sorry if you feel like I'm using this pejoratively, but I'm not using MAGAs pejoratively. You guys identify as MAGAs. So I'm just using the term that you use. But do MAGAs really think that Donald Trump is like celebrated around the world? Because it seems like they have these mutually exclusive things that are in their head at the same time, that everybody actually loves Trump and everybody actually hates Trump. Every criticism is just because everybody hates Trump, and every defense is everybody loves Trump. It's like, do people hate him or love him? Which is it? Okay. Kingdom. Him and Bibi have the same exact mindset. I wish I could display the comments. Maybe I should try this. This is just such a... See, like if I do that, I can pin it, but that's all I can do, and then it's like, it's kind of a pain. Harry says, but the best thing is that the international community... Oh, where did it go? But the best thing is that the international community that he has been going around insulting for the past 18 months, now he's demanding they help him, and he got annoyed that they all said no. He was so upset. Article 2, Section 2, as Commander-in-Chief, the President has inherent authority to use military force to protect the U.S. national security. That's not what Article 2, Section 2 says. It says he's the Commander-in-Chief, but it doesn't, and there is no national security that was threatened. And says nothing about protect U.S. national security interests and assets without waiting for a vote. That is not, I don't know if you've actually read Article 2 of the Constitution, but it doesn't say what you just said it says. Like, those words are not in there. Article 1 of the Constitution says that Congress decides when Congress declares war. And our history is Thomas Jefferson, when we were, back when Thomas Jefferson was president, there was this thing called the Barnaby Wars. And the Barbary States attacked a ship that was defended by U.S. Navy boats because they didn't pay some sort of passage fee or something. So they got attacked. The Navy wiped out the little pirates that were trying to do their thing. And then rather than go and declare war, Thomas Jefferson did nothing to attack Tripoli, who had declared war on us, and attacked our ships. But because there was no immediate threat, he went to Congress to get approval to take further military action. And they gave it to him. But in that time, he said, basically, as president, I don't have the right to go and take offensive action without Congress's approval. And then Congress gave him that approval. Like, that's what the framers thought. This whole, I've done a whole 4-hour show on the history of this. And I don't want to go through it all again. But the truth is that the framers wanted Congress to determine when we use the military, and then it's the president's job to decide how we use the military. If you just want a neat packaging. The last time we actually declared war was World War II. The War Powers Resolution was meant to rein in this kind of police actioning where, oh, it's not really a war. And so the War Powers Resolution is like, okay, to use our military, you need authorization. Now, you've got Obama did some stuff, and Biden did some stuff, and Clinton did some stuff, and Trump did a lot of stuff, and Bush did a lot of stuff. But Trump has definitely stretched this rubber band as far as it'll go. More than all of those other guys. You still need congressional approval. The War Powers Resolution was meant to rein that in. And it says if you actually read stuff instead of just regurgitate Fox News talking points, then you would know that the War Powers Resolution is not like this blanket 90-day permission to go and declare war on whoever you want and then ask, permission later. That only because there are times where you are actually defending American lives that you can attack without congressional approval as long as you get approval within the set number of days. But in that legislation, it says that if possible, you have to get permission from Congress first. And that's why this whole thing about imminent threat is so important. Because all they needed was like a couple of days to get Congress together and present this. Iran was not a couple of days away from, sending us into a nuclear wasteland or something. So Donald Trump did not have constitutional or legal authority to just go and start bombing the crap out of Iran. And before you, but Obama and Libya, Obama was wrong to do Libya too. I'm not the one being inconsistent. Even fight and argue with you on here. I'm just responding to your comments, Gary. He really has no idea what anything is or how anything works. He does not. I'm pretty sure Article 5 of NATO says that if a country gets attacked, they have to defend them with no supplies and economic stuff. I don't think anything there says that they have to help. Right. That's the thing. And when America was attacked, NATO was there. This is the only time Article 5 has been employed. And our allies were there 100% for us. Because, Kelly, you talk to me like I'm against you or what you're saying, and I'm not. You're just against me saying it. You're not against what I'm saying. You're against that I'm saying it is what you keep doing. Like you keep, all you do is talk about Trump. So you're not criticizing. You're not arguing with what I said. You're just saying I shouldn't say it. You don't know I'm your tongue. Grandson on the legend outlaw Josie Fur James and Frank James Clay Country, Missouri. Nobody knows how special he is to us, my family. I'm the only. I have no idea what all that is about. That is are you like some sort of AI thing? Ukraine is not part of NATO. Why did we have to get involved when we have EU nations still funding Russia? None of that I'm not even going to talk about all that because it's completely irrelevant. I agree it's not that I can't talk about it or there's not an answer. It's just, it's a red herring. I agree that there was no imminent threat. And I agree that this whole thing is illegal, says Harry. Raf Raffarm. Raf. I want to call you Ralph, or is it Rap Harm? They skipped many important steps, starting with no congressional permission. Yes, and it's really that simple. Like, what is the point of Article One? You know, like people that like just want to run over. Why did the what you know? Why did the founders give Congress the power to declare war? Like, for those that are just like the president can declare war whenever he wants, all by himself. Why is that in there? Why even put that in the Constitution? Yeah, just a whimsical thing. I mean, it's not like the. If you go and you look at why they put it in there, it's not like that there is a mystery. They literally did not want one person. I mean, they actually objectively, historically, categorically, and undeniably argued in writing that they did not want one person to decide when we go to war. And then, all this, footing around about, oh, well, this is an air war and boots on the ground and blah, blah, blah. That's all a bunch of nonsense. And I blame Democrats for that as much as I blame Republicans for that. But Trump has taken it to another level. And all the people that criticized, this is the other irony I find about this. All these people that criticized Obama and Libya for bombing Libya are now all of a sudden that makes this okay. Like, it was wrong when Obama did it, but now because Obama did it, it's okay for Trump to do it. If you said Obama was wrong for doing it, then you should be saying that Trump was wrong for doing it. And if you say Trump is wrong for doing it, then you should agree that Obama was wrong for doing it. But what Obama did was nowhere near the scale of what Trump did. What Obama did was there was a very real threat by Gaddafi against, civilians. And there was a civil war going on. And like all our NATO allies were in support and, participating in trying to put down Gaddafi. Now, Obama actually did go to Congress and he was denied permission, but then he did it anyway. And that I have a problem with. But what Trump did is on another scale. And it's like, I use this as a comparison. If, like one time I went to HEB and I bought a bunch of stuff. HEB is our grocery store in Texas. And I went to HEB and I bought a bunch of stuff and I got some mayonnaise. But when I did the self-checkout, I forgot to scan my mayonnaise. So I get home and I realize I didn't pay for my mayonnaise. And it was like, $2 or whatever. And I'm like, I don't feel like driving all the way back to the store to just pay for a jar of mayonnaise. So I just kept the mayonnaise and didn't worry about it. So you can say I stole that mayonnaise, right? I stole from HEB. Now, if somebody had gone in with automatic weapons and held up the HEB and robbed all the cashiers of all their cash, they would have also stolen from HEB. And so then if I said, that armed robbery is wrong, and then somebody said, you did the same thing, you stole from HEB too. That's what the whole what about Obama thing is. Yes, what Obama did in certain ways was similar to what Trump is doing. But what Trump is doing is in scale and degree and in principle, like completely beyond what Obama did. "2026 Iran confirmed that they had 60% uranium, which is clear violation of what they agreed to on. I don't care. That doesn't make them an imminent threat, Mackenzie. And you know what? We could have been monitoring it if Trump hadn't canceled the the peace treaty with them. You show Kelly if you want to complain about the Trump. It's up to you. I'm not going to say any more about it. Wars Power Resolution of 1970. Yes, educate yourself, Mackenzie. Read the thing. I just talked to you about it. That is not a blanket permission to go out and do war anytime you want, as long as you get permission. If you read the actual text of the actual bill, it says that you, at all possible, you have to go to Congress first. They could have gone to Congress first. This was not an imminent threat. That's why the whole words imminent threat are so critical. Stop just saying stuff you heard on Fox. Everything on Fox is distorted, manipulated to deceive people like you. All right? Read. I'm not saying go watch MSNBC to get the truth. I'm saying read the actual text of the actual bill to get the truth. Harry says there is no imminent threat from Iran, therefore the War Powers Resolution, which you keep referring to, doesn't apply. Right. Libya was a whole different kettle of fish compared to Iran. Completely different kettle of fish. As of March 2026, Congress rejected 3 different resolution proposals, which legally has... That is not at all true. The War Powers Resolution does not say that unless Congress tells him to stop, he can keep going. That's not what the War Powers Resolution says. The War Powers Resolution says that Congress has to approve what he's doing. All right? These 3 things that Democrats tried to, put forward that were blocked by Republicans are not the same thing. Congress not saying no is not the same thing as Congress saying yes. Please read the bill. Just read the bill instead of just, insisting on talking about it like you know what you're talking about when you clearly don't. He's in conversation with nobody. Nobody. Except for maybe Stephen Miller. Nope, it's about time to level Iran. Okay, yes. Let's kill 90 million people. That'll make things better. I don't know if we should trust Congress, though. They're just allowed to stay in power and do as much insider trading as they want. Hey, Nick. So, Nick, it's you. You were the one that I was thinking of. You were the one that I was asking about China yesterday, right? So, I made I'm got to put it up after this stream, but I promised I would do it, and I did it, and so I'm letting you know. Check my channel after this. I did a thing on the China thing. You were asking about China buying up farmland, so I made a little explainer video on that. Just so you know, I followed through. I did what I said I would do. So McKinsey says Iran admitted to having 60% uranium. How is that not a real threat? Because it's not a real threat. Having 60% of uranium does not make them a threat. And we're the ones that broke the deal with Iran. We had broken the deal with Iran 5 years earlier. Trump's the one that broke the deal, not Iran. Once Trump broke the deal, the Iran is no longer obligated to keep it. Also, Congress rejecting these 3 resolutions doesn't just mean they're agreeing to whatever Donald Trump wants. Exactly. Libya has... They didn't lie about missiles that can't reach Europe, and they're just... No, they didn't. Anyway. So McKinsey likes to repeat a lot of debunked stuff. Libya has no right to... Friend Zone says Libya has no right to supply agriculture to North Africans and compete in agriculture around the Mediterranean. Africa can't be on the gold standard either. They broke an international treaty. They were not an imminent threat. He had time to go to Congress. That's all it really boils down to. He could have gone to Congress, and he should have gone to Congress. There's no reason he couldn't have gone to Congress. You can sit there and talk about 60% uranium and broken promises and oh, they had intercontinental ballistic missiles, whatever that nonsense is. The fact is, they weren't going to nuke us. They were not a threat. And if you're silly enough to believe that we would be under a mushroom cloud right now if Donald Trump had not acted when he acted, then you're silly enough to keep defending Trump on tariffs and everything else. Donald Trump lied to you. And everybody in the world knows it except for like these very, very sheltered, bubble-hating group of MAGAs that refuse to acknowledge reality when it slaps them in the face. I'm curious if... Okay. All right. I'm curious if Trump follows through on passing the law of not allowing Congress to trade stocks. Doesn't apply to him. I wonder what his take on that would be if he wasn't allowed to buy stocks. Because he seems to be making a lot of money off of his own stock manipulating. Or his children's. McKinsey is misinformed. The Stop Insider Trading Act of 2026 is supposed to not allow it. No, they didn't. McKinsey says they lied about having missiles that can't reach Europe. No, they didn't. And they just shot missiles that far. No, they didn't. Does anyone know that they weren't ready to make a nuclear bomb? Yes, they weren't ready to make a nuclear bomb. And again, there were actual peace talks going on, Gary. And in those peace talks, Iran said, one, they were willing to downscale that 60% uranium that McKinsey keeps talking about. They were willing to do that. And they were willing to have an inspections team come out and like regularly inspect them to make sure that they were doing that. So, no, they were not a threat. They were not going to nuke us within a week. I don't like the language, but yes, I think the fact that Israel probably did play into this. Play into this. Give me chastity and confidence, but not yet. St. Augustine's Trump. Give me chastity and continence, but not yet. That's a good quote. I want to know where Kelly's getting all the inside information on the nuclear weapons in Iran. It's not inside information. It's publicly available. Just it's called reading. I mean, there's nothing in there that's. If you look at there was Qatari negotiators that were helping the negotiations between Iran and the United States, and this is what they're saying, among others. There's also like the IA and some other things, as well as our own intelligence. I mean, don't forget, the person that is responsible for that intelligence resigned because Trump is lying, and he is a Trump supporter. At least he was. So it's not like this is some big secret or something. It's just something they're not telling people on Fox. When Trump broke the deal with Iran, they weren't lying constantly and stuff like that. They were keeping they were following the plan according to everybody that actually was involved with it. So does Donald Trump? Yeah, Donald Trump has been known to occasionally say things that are not true. Kelly, I want to know what you're getting this. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just. that his justice cannot sleep forever. Thomas Jefferson. I mean, I don't love him, don't hate him. Either way, he's done nothing new. Well, but I think to this level, that he has definitely done something new. All right, guys, I need to do one of my little breaks here. I'll be back momentarily. All right, I'm back. Thank you for waiting, if you did. All right. So Nick was saying, I mean, I don't love him. I don't hate him either. What he's done is nothing new. Yeah, actually, a lot of what he's doing is definitely something new. He is doing a lot of stuff that's new, Nick. Other people weren't like, for example, other people weren't sending around thousands of ICE agents to different cities to terrorize the citizens and kill them. Other people, Biden did not decide to unilaterally conquer two different countries. Obama didn't do that. Obama did not decide, oh, we're going to just take over Venezuela's oil. Like, he's doing stuff that nobody else did. He is doing stuff that is new. None of them decided to put 15% tariffs on the entire world. Like, to say he's doing nothing new is dismissing all the new stuff he is doing and being almost cavalier about it. I would much rather believe the internet than I think that, you know, some of the stuff on the internet is true. Nothing out of Donald Trump's mouth is true. He claims we can only watch Fox News because he can't stand we are proving. Mackenzie, you haven't proven anything other than you watch too much Fox News. Saying debunked talking points is not proving me wrong. It's proving yourself oblivious to reality. Prove it to me what you're saying about the Iran nuclear thing. Show me the proof that didn't just tell me to read it. I've actually got videos on it. I don't. I mean, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to show it to you right now. You could just look it up. I mean, I mean, you're expecting me to take your word verbatim without looking it up. I mean, I'm telling you where I get my information, right? Like, there was an actual negotiations going on. Look at what was happening in the negotiations. Talking to you about that would be a waste of time because even if he cured cancer, you would say he did it wrong. No, if he cured cancer, I would be happy to say he cured cancer. But that's sort of a weird hypothetical. If Biden had cured cancer, Republicans would have said he did it wrong. I could say the same thing. When he with warp speed, I gave him credit for that. It's not that I won't give him credit if he does anything good. It's just some people won't criticize him no matter what he does wrong. There's not a lot of good that's come out of this. I'd like to name one thing he's done that's actually positive in his second term. Name one thing that has helped America in his second term. Like, just go ahead. Tell me one thing that he deserves credit for that he's not getting. Hi from Stockholm, Sweden. Hey there. How's it going? Swedish Moose. You have a right to do whatever you want, man. Gary and Harry. I just realized that. It's Gary and Harry. We could have like a debate with Gary and Harry. Call it the Gary and Harry show. Tell me one thing that Donald Trump has said that claims to be a fact that you disagree with. But sending those ICE agents to high crime cities helped lower the murder rate. No, it didn't. I mean, it really didn't. In fact, the only two people that were murdered in Minneapolis while ICE was there were murdered by ICE. I mean, this is all just like nonsensical babbling. No, ICE going to these cities did not lower the murder rate. It didn't. It didn't lower the murder rate. I know Donald Trump likes to say stuff like that, but there's absolutely no statistical evidence to prove that. There's not even a correlation with it. Harry loves this because this is the Trump bashing channel. Right, and anything that Biden did, you say was bad. Swedish Moose. Okay, so now we got Gary and Harry going back and forth. Nick, and I'm not saying that the ICE agents were right, but how do we condemn all of them for the actions of two people? I don't okay, first of all, it wasn't two people. There was like 12 people involved, right? Like, it wasn't just the ICE agents. It's not like they were like one person. Like Ross, there was one person that did the shooting. Then there was all the people that helped him get away with it. There were like a whole 6 people that fired their guns into Alex Preddy. He had, like 10 bullets in him. And those weren't those were the 2 people that were killed. There's also the ICE agents that dragged the American citizen out into the Minnesota winter in his underwear because he was just, like the wrong pigment. Then there was the guy that they dragged out and beat the crap out of and dumped into a Walmart parking lot. You're overlooking like just all the assaults, all the illegal arrests, all the illegal detainments, and all of that is on Biden or on Trump. All of that is on Trump. All of that is on Stephen Miller. The excessive use of force, the unnecessary violence, all of that by ICE is all of that. You can't just look at 2 deaths and say, well, only 2 ICE agents are responsible. All the ICE agents that refuse to show their face, that refuse to get an actual judicial warrant. And these are, what is it? They reduced the training for ICE agents from, what was it, 6 months to 47 days? Because Donald Trump is 47, not because they only needed 47 days. They just wanted to rush out these people. So they rushed out the Gravy SEALs as fast as they could. I think it was, I don't remember the numbers exactly. I think it was 40% of them failed their Constitution test. Like they don't even know what the people's rights are. Like half of them failed their physicals. Yeah, but, let's talk more about DEI hires. He desires credit for the 93... So, Harry says he's not mad, pretty calm. He deserves credit for the 93,000 jobs lost in February and the 103,000 jobs lost in January. And I think between his 2 terms, he's still at a net negative total jobs created, which is the only president, like, since the Depression where that's true. MAGA gets to be sadistic. They enjoy it. Yes. He deserves credit for the $5 a gallon at the gas station. Yeah, it's going to get higher. Once again, okay, Kelly, can you put stupidity as a thing that is not allowed? And once again, not saying they were right, but we're not going to ignore the people agitating them. People weren't agitating them, Nick. People were protesting. People are allowed to protest. It's a constitutional right. And I just want to clarify something here. Running around and honking your horn, blowing whistles, warning undocumented immigrants, all of that is 100% considered a constitutional right. It's no different than if you see a speed trap and somebody's coming at you and you flash your headlights. You're allowed to warn people. That's a constitutional right. It is free speech. So yes, it is wrong to go and beat the crap out of people for exercising their free speech. You can't just say agitating them. They're supposed to be law enforcement officers. They are the ones that are responsible for not escalating things. Harry says, you proved to us that Iran was an imminent threat and you win the argument. But she won't do that because you can't. There is stats to back it up. No, there's not. There's a lot of factors, but it's a factor. No, it's not. 81,000 private sector jobs gone in February. Ben Shapiro is a foreign agent. That's interesting. I call Ben Shapiro Captain Fallacy. Everything he says is just like a fallacy. Trump's goal is to destroy America from within. If he... honestly, if you were to I asked Grok one time. If my goal were to destroy America from within, as the president, taking every constitutional power I had as far as it would go, would I do anything different than Donald Trump has done? And Grok couldn't find anything. He's like, nope, pretty much everything he's done. You can say, like, if you would still do it if you wanted to destroy America from within. And then, or was it might have been Claude. It was Claude or Grok. Anyway, and then the other part of that I thought was interesting was that there's a book that Putin is a big fan of, that actually talks about a lot of the things that Trump is doing. That, it's like Putin's favorite book. And it says, like, if you want it to destroy from America from within, these are the things you have to do. And Trump is almost textbook doing those things. The Bible is full of stories of Jesus chastising people like MAGA. Make me prove it. Okay. How far behind him? Oh, you know what? I can't tell when the comments were made here, so I can't tell how far behind I am. All right. Trump is easy to hate the things he's doing to America. Are you freaking kidding me? Yes. It's not like all this criticism of Trump is unfair. Holly Tarifact, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 worsened the Great Depression and strained international relations, helping us set the stage for World War II. Yeah, those were the good old days, right? Donald Trump actually acts like that was a good thing, the Smoot-Hawley tariff. Iran is a threat because Israel told Trump they were. I saw a former prosecutor come and condemn the way these protesters are doing. I don't really care. I really do not care that some former prosecutor had an issue with the way people were protesting. It's still legal. It's still a constitutional right, even if it gives a former prosecutor a feelings boo-boo. He says they knew they were crossing the line and always complained when they got arrested. But they weren't crossing the line. That's the thing. They weren't. They weren't. This is the line. It's very clear what the line is. The line is to physically prevent an ICE officer from being able to do their job. Physically. Intercede. Like if you put your body in between them and somebody and you put your arms around them, that is physically interceding. Filming them is not interceding. Is not physical. Blaring your horn is not physical. Blowing a whistle is not physical. These people that were being arrested and detained illegally were not crossing the line. ICE was crossing the line. Again, I know that MAGAs do not like to read the laws, but I went and I read the actual laws, and that's what the law says. And I read through the court history of the laws. So your prosecutor, little guy, have him come on the show and I will explain to him what the law says. I saw a man get thrown onto the floor for recording them. I don't think they are protesting hard enough. Yes, standing outside the ICE agency yelling at you over speaker is highly enlightening. Yes, but it's legal. It's actually freedom of speech. The right to protest does not mean you only get to protest where people can't hear you. If the people you're protesting can't hear you, what's the point of the protest? This idea, I shouldn't have to be hearing the things that are being protested. I'm sorry if ICE got a feelings boo-boo. Comes with the job. Oh, like MAGA crying about haircuts and not being able to golf. Definitely not all fair. Sadly, he's moving back on his own campaign promises now. His campaign promises are like, just totally forgotten. You remember Know Your Words? That was a good one. It's like I love the way people act like he never said Are you okay? So, yeah, trans stuff is not necessary here. Anti-trans stuff. Uh, Definitely not all fair. Sadly, he's moving back on his own campaign promises now. Nobody isn't crying. Remember not to vote for Trump again. Yeah. Hopefully, he won't be on the ballot in 2028, but he's trying to be. A president making promises and not following through? No, they can never. Oh, so you're just obviously don't care that all the Donald Trump said that if I vote for Harris, then we would go to war with Iran. He's right. I voted for Harris and we're at war with Iran. But somehow, like you took that as like I don't even understand what you're talking about. Like, okay, it's just okay that Donald Trump just does a 180 on every single one of his campaign promises. Because other presidents, like just other presidents, give me a break, Nick. Do you have any intellectual integrity at all? I've learned my lesson being on this show. I won't vote for Trump again. This whole exchange reminds me of the court scene in the movie Idiocracy. That was a good movie. I need to watch that again. Nobody knew that was like the only thing that movie got wrong is the timeline. Obviously, whenever you give certain people any kind of power, they are going to abuse it. I don't know how you stop that though. Well, protesting. Now that we've complained all day on here about everything that's wrong, is anything different now? I don't think that anybody thought that by the end of the show there would be anything different, Gary. Is it just me, or is it January 6th insurrectionists relieving themselves on the House floor? I'll wait. Yeah, they literally wipe their poops on the law on the walls, but that's okay. That's protesting, but protesting is violence, but violence is protesting. The law says you can't stand in the street. Okay, let's just go along with this. The law says you can't stand in the street, whatever nonsense that's supposed to be. If the law says that you can't stand in the street, that is a city ordinance, and city police need to enforce that law. ICE does not have any authority to uh, enforce traffic laws. So it's sort of a stupid talking point and irrelevant. It's not legal to block traffic. City police, not a nice thing. It's not legal to follow agents around town and harass them. Yes, it is. It actually is 100% legal to do that. Uh, following ICE around is fine. Honking your horn, following ICE around is fine. Yelling out of bullhorns and blowing whistles and all of that is 100% legal, as long as you're not driving in front of the ICE agents and stopping them from going where they're going. And no, Renee Good did not stop them from driving by, because they drove by before they killed her. It is illegal to. It is illegal to block traffic. Whoever said that is crap. What the hell is wrong with you people? Nice, you got to stop acting like you're impartial to Trump. You love the guy. Or Nick, you got to stop acting like you're impartial to Trump. You love the guy and it's okay. Are you talking to John? Who are you talking to, John? He's talking to Nick. Okay. Uh, Law says you can't stand in front of an abortion. Winner says the law says you can't stand in front of an abortion clicking in the UK. Law says you can't do it in the US either. Okay. I don't know. None said anything then. I don't know. Please Google. I don't know what I'm supposed to Google, Nick. I don't know how they stop power tripping cops. Well, apparently they don't. Have you not paid attention? I mean, it's actually an issue that cops get away with way too much. Uh, uh, it says the UK government is allowed to make necessary regulations on set right, reasonably necessary for the running of good society. Okay, just all right. I think we're good for today. Yes, but I have seen the videos of people following ICE and blocking their vehicles from driving. I haven't seen any videos from that. I mean, Renee Good wasn't doing that. Alex Preddy wasn't doing that. Um, I the poor autistic girl that got pulled out of her car wasn't doing that. I have not seen those videos. I'm not saying those videos don't exist. I am saying I have not seen those videos, and I've seen a lot of videos that allegedly show, the laws being broken. And again, they have to physically prevent ICE agents from actually doing, carrying out an arrest or something like that. If you're for law and order, he says, sorry, I'm just for law and order. If that makes me a Trumper, you guys, okay. If you are for law and order, how do you vote for a 34-time felon who stole national security documents and sponsored a coup? How can you be for law and order and for Donald Trump? Donald Trump is the antithesis of law and order. Donald Trump is a criminal. Donald Trump is the opposite of law and order. He hates law and order. He doesn't think they apply to him. He literally does not think laws apply to him. Saying you're a Trumper because you're for law and order. Dude, I'm for law and order. You're allowed to follow them. They cannot stop you following them. They could arrest you if you go in front of them and block them off. Literally, just for following them, keeping your... Anyway. There was no open border policy to Rocco. There was a border patrol there. If you drove over the border of Mexico, you got stopped and they searched your, you had to show your ID and stuff like that. The idea that there was open borders is nonsense. What there was is a president who honored the fact that asylum exists. That's the only difference between Biden and Trump on the border, is that Biden respected the laws regarding asylum and Donald Trump doesn't. That's the only difference. There's zero difference. The law has not changed. The only policy that got changed is that Donald Trump stopped following the asylum laws, which is why when people like Nick sit there and talk about, I'm just for law and order. Okay, if you're for law and order, why aren't you criticizing Donald Trump for not following the law on asylum? What's the thing most people misunderstand about you or your personality? I don't know. I said I don't like Trump anymore, but because I took ICE. Okay, but what about when ICE is breaking the law, Nick? If you're for law and order, why are you defending ICE breaking the law? Every single time that that ICE detains an American citizen, yanks them out of their house in the middle of winter in their underwear, that is ICE breaking the law. Why aren't you criticizing ICE for breaking the law if you are for law and order? And it's not just a few of them. It's the whole rotten bunch of them. Illegal crossings rose over one. All right, first of all, I'm not going to, your little percentage things are like, they go beyond that, but illegal crossings are counted mostly because they are people that are being sent back. They are being apprehended. Illegal crossings changed, but they were being sent back. That means the border is not open. When you use apprehensions to prove that the border is open, that's like dumb. Apprehensions literally prove the border was closed. Like that's like that's like when they would sit there and they'd seize the meth. And then people would sit there and go, oh, open borders. But now that Trump's president, when they seize the meth, that's proof that the borders are closed. That's what I meant, Nick says. Meeting started in Obama's admin. Metering started. Okay, but metering is not the same thing. Just closing asylum is not the same thing as metering. In their mind, you can't be with ICE and not like Trump anymore. No. But I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about ICE. ICE using administrative warrants to do things requiring a judicial warrant is illegal, and they should not, but they do it all the time. That's my point, Nick. Why aren't you criticizing ICE for breaking the law? If you are a law and order person, why aren't you criticizing ICE for breaking the law? When ICE breaks the law, okay. So let me ask you this, Nick. The Democrats right now are not funding DHS because ICE is not using administrative warrants. Or because ICE is using administrative warrants and not following the Fourth Amendment. Do you think that ICE is wrong to not follow the Fourth Amendment and get judicial warrants? Like, do you know the difference between a judicial warrant and an administrative warrant? A judicial warrant is one a judge issues. An administrative warrant is one that somebody else in your hierarchy issued. Like if your boss gives you an administrative warrant, then you can go. That's the same agency. That is a self-administered warrant. That defeats the whole purpose of getting a warrant. The purpose of a warrant is that a third party, an objective third party, looks and says, this is legitimate. They ask the questions. And I see a lot of people get confused on judicial warrants, and then they kind of like get all conflated about all kinds of stuff. The Fourth Amendment applies to everybody in America, or it applies to nobody in America. When ICE breaks the law, those officers should be held accountable. So you think all the officers that don't get judicial warrants should be held accountable? What about the people that tell them they don't need one? What about the people that tell them to break the law? But you can't do that because officers have qualified immunity and because they don't receive training. It basically applies all the time. I don't think, Okay, well. Anyway. Never did get an answer from Nick on that. But I think I need to get going here. My head is really starting to hurt. So The whole law should be changed. I agree the law should be changed. I think we need to change a lot of our immigration laws. But until the laws are changed, it's the president's job to enforce them as they exist. But anyway, I need to go. My head is like not doing great. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. This was my first stab at this way. I think I'll try and might try something different tomorrow. But we'll see how things go. I'll talk to you later. Bye.